Tonight, President Donald Trump's first full day in office and the growing fallout after he pardoned the January 6 rioters. The president coming before the cameras late today as he faces backlash for pardoning more than 1,000 January 6 defendants, including many found guilty of assaulting police officers. The leaders of the far-right Proud Boys and Oath Keepers among nearly 200 walking free today. And Mr. Trump's sweeping executive orders on immigration, already facing a flurry of legal challenges as Texas installs new buoy barriers in the Rio Grande. Our political team breaking it down. Also tonight, the deadly once-in-a-generation winter storm blasting the south from Texas to Florida. Houston and New Orleans slammed with snow. Danger on the roads and more than 2,000 flights canceled. Al Roker is here. The new mandatory evacuations as wildfires fueled by powerful winds erupt in Southern California. The possible break in that series of burglaries targeting pro athletes. The arrests that could be linked to the break-in at Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow's home. The memorabilia allegedly found in the suspect's car.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening and welcome. We begin tonight with the growing controversy over President Trump's decision to pardon or commute the sentences of more than 1,500 defendants who took part in the deadly January 6 attack on the Capitol. Late today, Mr. Trump again defending that action. More than 200 of those serving prison time have already been released. Some of the defendants convicted of assaulting police officers that day. Today, those newly freed January 6 defendants were celebrated by some as heroes, while victims of that day's violence expressed a sense of betrayal, and even some Republican lawmakers expressed surprise. Senior White House correspondent Peter Alexander joins us now. And Peter, just moments ago, you had a chance to press the president about those pardons.
Lester, that's right. President Trump is defending those pardons tonight, as you note, saying that he is still a fierce supporter of police officers. But tonight, the criticism about these sweeping pardons is growing.
Tonight, the president's facing new backlash for pardoning or commuting the sentences of everyone convicted for their actions on January 6th and those still under investigation.
These are the hostages, approximately 1,500 for a pardon. Yes. Full pardon.
Including those found guilty of assaulting police officers. 4 years ago, President Trump condemned the violence.
To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay.
The president's move, something his own vice president had recently argued against.
If you committed violence on that day, obviously you shouldn't be pardoned.
Former D.C. police officer Michael Fanone was assaulted during the riot and spent today getting protective orders against those who attacked him.
The American people elected Donald Trump knowing full well that he would pardon my attackers. And so it is the ultimate betrayal.
We pressed the president today.
You would agree that it's never acceptable to assault a police officer,
Sure.
right? So then if I can, among those you pardoned, DJ Rodriguez, he drove a stun gun into the neck of a D.C. police officer who was abducted by the mob that day. He later confessed on video to the FBI and pleaded guilty for his crimes. Why does he deserve a pardon?
Well, I don't know. Was it a pardon? Because we're looking at commutes and we're looking at pardons. Okay, well, we'll take a look at everything. But I can say this, murderers today are not even charged.
I want to ask you about the Vice President, J.D. Vance. He said, this is a week ago, he said, if you committed violence on January 6th, obviously you should not be pardoned. Why is your Vice President wrong?
Well, only for one reason. They've served years in jail.
Among those being released, the leaders of two far-right groups, the Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio, and founder of the Oath Keepers militia, Stuart Rhodes, both convicted of seditious conspiracy and other offenses. Rhodes, who'd been sentenced to 18 years in prison, speaking shortly after his release.
I think it's a good day for America that all the wrongs are being undone. So none of these people should have been here in the first place. None of them were ever tried in a fair trial.
Jacob Chansley, known as the QAnon shaman who pleaded guilty to 1 count of felony obstruction of an official proceeding, posting, "Thank you, President Trump. Now I'm going to buy some mother expletive guns." And some Trump allies who support pardons question if the president's move was too broad.
I think they were absolutely justified. Again, I don't know all the cases. I certainly don't want to pardon any violent actors.
Those pardons among stacks of executive actions already signed by President Trump, including many focused on reversing Biden administration policies, declaring a national energy emergency to repeal regulations on oil drilling and fossil fuels, and scrapping Biden border policies.
We're getting rid of all of the cancer. I call it cancer, the cancer caused by the Biden administration.
Overnight, the president posting the White House is actively in the process of identifying and removing over 1,000 presidential appointees from the previous administration that are not aligned with our vision. Today, the administration firing the head of the Coast Guard, Admiral Linda Fagan, the first woman to lead a branch of the U.S. military relieved of her duties. Tonight, President Trump touting more sweeping changes on his first full day in office, appearing with top tech CEOs at the White House, including Oracle's Larry Ellison, announcing a massive $500 billion investment in AI in the U.S. He says will create 100,000 jobs. Also tonight, President Trump was asked, would he support Elon Musk buying TikTok?
I would be if he wanted to buy it.
And Peter, we just learned about new details about the president's trip to the West Coast.
Lester, that's right. President Trump will travel to Los Angeles this Friday after repeatedly blaming the Democratic leaders there for the response to those wildfires. But Governor Gavin Newsom invited him, and the president just announced an executive order to help bring more water, he says, to Southern California. Lester.
All right, Peter Alexander at the White House, thanks. And there is growing backlash tonight over the president's broad actions on immigration, including lawsuits by dozens of states and even a church sermon. Here's Gabe Gutierrez.
At the National Cathedral today, prayer and politics collided.
The vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
With President Trump looking on, the bishop delivered an unusually political sermon criticizing his deportation plan.
I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away.
The president later responding.
I didn't think it was a good service, no. They could do much better.
Tonight, the backlash is growing after his sweeping executive actions on immigration.
If I were to lose my parents due to deportation, my whole world would fall apart.
At least 22 states are already suing over Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship for children of undocumented immigrants. Connecticut's Attorney General saying Trump has zero respect for our Constitution, which spells out anyone born in the U.S. is a citizen.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. We have very good grounds. People have wanted to do this for decades.
The president also halting the program that resettles refugees in the U.S., including Afghans fleeing the Taliban.
They haven't received clarifying information, and they're scared that they're going to die.
But Trump won the election after pledging tougher border security. This Republican county commissioner in Chicago supports Trump's immigration crackdown after more than 51,000 migrants arrived there.
Funding is absolutely not sustainable. Between the county, between the city, we've spent nearly $1 billion.
And after labeling cartels foreign terrorist organizations, Trump is not ruling out sending special forces into Mexico.
Stranger things have happened.
Mexico's president said today that her country would defend its sovereignty, but act in a humanitarian way with migrants waiting across the border. Tonight, as part of the deportation effort, ICE is now allowing its officers to arrest undocumented immigrants in sensitive locations like schools and churches. Lester?
Okay, Gabe, thank you. Now look at this, the kind of snow they almost never see in Houston. Some stunning scenes playing out across the Deep South as a rare and dangerous winter storm cripples travel by air and road and closes schools. Priscilla Thompson is there. Priscilla, this storm has been deadly.
That's right, Lester. There's at least one confirmed death now in Georgia, and there's growing concern that overnight snow on roadways could turn to ice. From Texas all the way down to the Florida Panhandle, an unfamiliar sight, snow and ice.
We're not necessarily used to walking in a winter wonderland here in Florida.
Blizzard-like conditions slamming the Gulf Coast.
So they'll be like, oh, are we preparing for like just a one-day storm, or are we about to not have water for a week?
3 inches of snow reported in Houston, 6 in Lake Charles, and more than 10 in Rayne, Louisiana. Historic snowfall, creating chaos in the air, with more than 2,200 flights canceled after airports in Georgia, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and Florida shut down or suspended operations. Drivers also wary on the roads.
It's just too dangerous. I don't want my car slipping and sliding.
In Mississippi, this truck appearing to narrowly miss an ambulance. Major highways frozen solid in Louisiana. NBC's George Solis is there.
Highways and roadways around Baton Rouge are closed today out of an abundance of caution, not just concerns of this snowfall, but icing as well.
On the East Coast, frigid temperatures.
It's freezing cold. It's unbearable right now.
The lake effect snow causing Buffalo's mayor to declare a state of emergency. Officials tonight warning that ice will continue to be a threat.
Air temperatures are going to be near or below freezing, and ground temperatures are just above freezing. That snow could melt and then instantly refreeze.
As the storm marches east, residents bracing for more snow, sleet, and freezing rain. Priscilla Thompson, NBC News, Houston.
Let's turn now to our friend Al Roker, who's tracking the storm in the deep freeze. And Al, some of these cities haven't seen this kind of snow ever.
That's right. And in fact, New Orleans and Lake Charles, both snowstorms, they haven't seen this in over 60 years, Lester. From New Orleans all the way to New Bern, North Carolina, 34 million people under winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories. You can see the snow from New Orleans, Panama City, up into Myrtle Beach and New Bern, Norfolk, Virginia as well. We're still looking at another 2 to 4 inches of snow from Savannah, Georgia, all the way up to Norfolk through tomorrow. That moves out, but we've also got dangerous ice from southern Georgia into northern Florida. Dangerous commute for tomorrow morning. And the temperatures, we are talking about 178 million people. Look at these wind chills. Tomorrow morning, it'll feel like 17 in Chicago, 9 in Baton Rouge, 4 in New York City, 20 in Houston. The good news is a slow, gradual warm-up, Lester, as we get toward Friday. Look at temperatures. They'll be in the upper 20s, but end up in the mid to upper 30s.
Okay, Al, thanks very much. 2 weeks after the start of those deadly wildfires in Southern California, some scary moments again as new fires broke out. But this time, no damage was reported. It comes as some finally go back to their homes for the first time. Liz Kreutz tells us more.
Tonight, firefighters racing to put out multiple brush fires igniting across Southern California. The Friar Fire in San Diego threatening a mall and several homes after the Lilac Fire forced evacuations overnight. And now, 2 weeks after the devastating Eaton and Palisades fires in LA County, FEMA saying it has received more than 97,000 claims. And tonight, some families are finally able to return to see what's left of their homes, including 2 we met last week, the Edwards family in Altadena and the Andonians in the Pacific Palisades.
My heart was beating. I knew that it's going to be difficult. There are no words you can explain. You know, you have to feel it on your skin. You have to feel it in your mind.
In Altadena, Maria and Craig Edwards are seeing what was their home of 30 years.
This is a lot. It's like somebody hit you in your stomach. They gave you a big punch in the gut. This is a lot to take.
Since the fires, the couple has bounced between a hotel and 2 Airbnbs. They've submitted claims to their insurance, the state-created FAIR plan, but have yet to receive any funds.
Trying to find an apartment and paying rent and paying a mortgage is just going to be a little tough, a lot of tough.
Sifting through the rubble, they found one thing miraculously untouched.
What's in that jewelry box? Oh my God, is that your ring?
Oh my God, this is it. Found it. Thank you, Lord.
Maria's wedding ring.
But I know we're going to get through this. We have to get through this.
Small signs giving hope when so much is lost.
And President Trump is likely to visit Los Angeles on Friday to tour the destruction. This comes as rain is in the forecast this weekend, raising concerns about mudslides with all this debris. Lester?
Okay, Liz, thanks very much. We'll take a break in 60 seconds. Could the arrests of 4 alleged gang members in Ohio be linked to the burglary at the home of Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow? We'll tell you what authorities say they found right after this. A major development tonight in a series of burglaries targeting professional athletes. Multiple arrests possibly linked to the break-in at the home of Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. Let's get more now from Maggie Vespa.
Tonight, after months of brazen burglaries at the homes of pro athletes, a possible break in the case of Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. Ohio's Attorney General confirming 4 Chilean nationals today were indicted on charges of participating in a criminal gang and engaging in a pattern of corrupt activity. Court documents stating authorities found in their SUV an old LSU shirt and Bengals hat believed to be stolen from a December burglary, seemingly referring to the one at Burrow's home, though he was not named and authorities declined to give more details. The documents state the men had been under surveillance, and the arrests came amid an ongoing investigation involving burglaries of multi-million-dollar homes in multiple states. Authorities not specifying whether that refers to break-ins at the homes of other pro athletes, including Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, all during games, often on the road. Burrow tonight not returning NBC News' request for comment, but telling reporters last month,
We live a public life. Doesn't make it any easier to deal with.
A senior U.S. official briefed on the matter, saying the FBI warned against athletes displaying valuables on social media, adding the burglaries are likely driven by South American organized theft groups. Orange County, California District Attorney Todd Spitzer estimating authorities there have made roughly 100 arrests in the last 2 years.
These are incredibly sophisticated jobs.
They use Wi-Fi jammers, police scanner jammers. They survey our homes, and they know exactly what they're doing.
NBC News has reached out to the attorney for all 4 men arrested in Ohio. So far, no response. Lester.
Okay, Maggie Vespa, thank you. Up next for us tonight, President Trump and crypto, how the president's new meme coin could make him billions and why critics are raising the alarm. We're back now with the questions over President Trump's newest financial endeavor. Just before taking office, the president launching a type of cryptocurrency known as a meme coin. Hallie Jackson now on what it is and the concerns it's raising.
From a crypto ball before the inauguration featuring Snoop Dogg to a new crypto task force just launched today by the SEC, supporters of the digital currency are hoping the president's promised golden age extends to them.
The reign of terror against crypto is over.
And now, after using his Trump brand to sell everything from steaks and vodka to sneakers and Bibles, the president promoting his company's newly launched Trump meme coin.
I don't know much about it other than I launched it. I heard it was very successful.
Those tokens, usually pegged to internet trends or celebrity endorsers, holding only the value traders put in it. At one point, the Trump coin rocketing from $6.50 to more than $72. Today, trading closer to $45 a coin. A similar coin, named for Melania, launched just yesterday.
There was this promise that Trump would usher in a time of at least thoughtful debate. What the concern now is that launching a meme coin is one of those corners of crypto that is taken less seriously.
And ethics experts concerned about conflicts of interest and the Trump family enriching themselves off these coins.
He has the power now not only to be making money, but he's actually going to be in position to be making determinations around that entire sector.
I'm laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world.
For the president, an evolution from just 3 years ago.
Bitcoin, it just seems like a scam.
President Trump pointing to the influence of his son, Barron.
Barron knows so much about this. Right. Eric, and Barron's a young guy, but he knows it.
The support so far for crypto now sending its most widely known currency, Bitcoin, to near record highs. Lester?
Okay, Hallie, thanks. That's Nightly News for this Tuesday. Thank you for watching. I'm Lester Holt. Please take care of yourself and each other. Good night. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.